Get him! Get him!
Oh my gosh!
These bears are not your typical cuddly creatures. These fuzzy nightmares are the embodiment of the term death from above. Drop bears. You might be thinking, why are you showing me videos of koalas attacking people? Think again. Watch this and see if you can spot the differences. This is your everyday cute cuddly koala. And this is a vicious, brooding drop bear. Take note of its razor-sharp claws, unnerving stare, and scarred forehead from countless attacks. The person filming is lucky that this gliding grump's locked up. How deadly is a drop bear attack? And how are people using this food to defend themselves? Let's go on a bushwalk and remember to look up because this is Australia's most notorious creature. One of the most terrifying aspects of drop bears is their hunting behavior. They wait patiently on the branches of trees, sometimes for up to 4 hours, waiting for their unsuspecting prey to walk underneath. Then, with lightning-fast reflexes, they drop down and make a surprise kill. These little tree ninjas have been responsible for numerous attacks on humans. The initial impact stuns their prey. Then, they go for the jugular, biting or slashing the neck with their claws. Luckily, there haven't been many fatal drop bear attacks. Still, they were damaging and scarring enough for people to develop inventive self-defense methods. Drop bears are intelligent creatures who will attack anything threatening their safety. So some locals' first instinct was to turn themselves into an echidna, but instead of quills, they tied forks in their hair. Clever. Eventually, people decided that forks were too much hassle and weren't fashionable enough, so they made this thing, the Bushman's safety hat. A dunce cap-looking hat topped with a silver tip for self-defense. The University of Tasmania decided to look further into the rampant drop bear situation. They conducted a study monitoring the location and occurrence of drop bear attacks and were presented with some interesting results. Statistically, they found that foreigners were more likely to be attacked than Australians. The one discerning factor between the two groups? Australia's favorite savory spread, Vegemite. The researchers theorized that byproducts of the interaction between chemicals found in Vegemite and those found in human sweat repel drop bears. Most Australians eat Vegemite at least once a day, so they permanently exude these chemicals through their skin and are thus protected. Anecdotal evidence also suggests that drop bears recognize and positively respond to Australian accents.
Don't be a hero, mate.
So if you're ever exploring the Aussie bush, smear on some Vegemite, put on your best Australian accent like I'm doing here, and happy April Fool's Day! Come on, we had you going for at least the first 10 seconds. Dropping from treetops and attacking tourists. That's what drop bears do, and that's what makes them crazy, made-up creatures. When you're diving, what's scarier than getting disoriented and lost in the deep, dark ocean? How about encountering one of these creatures from hell? This deep-sea nightmare is called the Goblin Shark, and it's got some nasty surprises to spring at you. How dangerous are those horrific teeth? How do goblin sharks hunt their prey? And could you be their next victim? Take a deep breath. We're diving into dark waters to meet your worst nightmare, the Goblin Shark. With its long snout, sharp, jagged teeth, and a complexion like Gollum's, the goblin could be the most grotesque shark.
You are ugly when you're angry.
They're named after mythical goblins from Japanese folklore and live at depths of 270 to 960 meters near the coasts of Japan, Tasmania, and even California. And if you think there is something almost prehistoric about its monstrous appearance, you are right. Goblin sharks are often called living fossils. Their family, the Mitsukurinidae, has been around for at least 125 million years. Weighing as much as 210 kilograms and growing up to 6 meters in length, goblins are less muscular than other sharks. Their bodies are soft and flabby. You can see their veins through their pinkish-white skin. And if those tiny eyes on that oversized snout have not creeped you out yet, wait till you see this. Yep, this shark can extend its jaw out by as much as 0.3 meters or 1 foot. That's 9.4% of its body length. Up to 115 terrifying teeth fight for room in its mouth. Elastic bands of skin tissue folded under these teeth allow the shark to whip its jaw out at an incredible 3.1 meters per second. That's longer and faster than any other shark. But why would a shark need its jaws to operate at such impressive speed? Well, this mighty predator of the deep has an embarrassingly slow swimming speed of 20 kilometers per hour. A leatherback sea turtle can swim twice as fast as a goblin shark. Extendable jaws increase the shark's chances of catching even the most elusive squids and crustaceans. Those and bony fish make up most of its diet. This shark prefers softer food to keep all its precious teeth intact. They're less than 1 centimeter across, so the goblin's teeth break pretty easily. You needn't worry about turning into prey for this fragile-toothed shark.
What a relief. I'm gonna have nightmares, you know.
Sometimes younger goblin sharks swim closer to the surface, but their teeth are even smaller than a fully grown shark's. As goblin sharks grow older, their snouts shrink, their skin gets pinker, and they move into deeper waters. So how do they manage to find their prey in the dark? Their snouts contain special organs called ampullae of Lorenzini. With their help, these goblins can detect electric fields created by other fish in the darkness of the deep oceans. The goblin shark is one of the rarest and deepest dwelling species. But human garbage affects their chance of surviving. Goblin sharks often eat the garbage that finds its way to the bottom of the ocean, and younger goblins sometimes end up as bycatch. There have also been isolated reports of people trophy hunting goblin sharks for their jaws. Yeesh. Sharks help keep the ecosystem in balance, and there's a lot more humans can learn from them. These are the largest land-living crustaceans in the world, but they don't get that big without putting in the work. These giant creatures have a crazy diet plan, feeding on rats, seabirds, and even kittens. This is a coconut crab, and it kills its prey using its deadly pincers. It attacks birds by breaking their wings and carrying them down from treetops to devour later. Why are they called coconut crabs? Where are they found? And can they be harmful to humans?
This is a proper big one.
Let's find out. These monstrous crabs, as Charles Darwin called them, can reach sizes up to 1 meter in length and can weigh 4 kilograms. They're found around the South Pacific and Indian Oceans on islands such as Madagascar, Seychelles, and Easter Island. Watch out for huge blue, red, or purple-red crabs in those areas if you happen to be around. And definitely do not leave blood or smelly stuff outside. They can smell food from far away, including other crabs, hatchling tortoises, and even kittens. They will also scavenge for nuts and fruit. In addition to their usual diet, they also eat their own exoskeleton when they shed it off. The pincers are perhaps the scariest characteristic of these monsters. They have some of the strongest on Earth, packing a force equal to that of a lion's bite. Their 3,300 newtons of squeezing power is almost enough to break a human bone. Ouch. Thankfully, these crustaceans won't attack people unless threatened. But they have been suspected of eating at least one person. According to one hypothesis, the reason Amelia Earhart was never found after her infamous 1937 disappearance over the Pacific is because coconut crabs feasted on her dead or dying body on the island where her plane crashed. While we aren't sure if this theory is true, we do know that these crabs are cuckoo for coconuts. That's where they get their name from. This favorite fruit is also responsible for their large size. Coconut crabs living in regions with ample namesake food sources are significantly larger than those living in other areas. Excellent at climbing palm trees, they are capable of reaching heights in excess of 6 meters to hack open a coconut. They're also smart enough to drop the coconut so it cracks open on the ground. Coconuts aren't the only appealing meal at the top of a tree. Coconut crabs will attack birds and drag them down to enjoy later. In a particularly gruesome nighttime attack on a red-footed booby, a crab used its claw to break the bird's wings one by one, immobilizing it before its ghastly death. Interestingly, they're considered to be a delicacy and tourist trophies across areas of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Live crabs are often shipped from smaller islands to bigger cities where they sell for around $20 to $30 each in restaurants. Would you dare eat this crazy creature? Tell us in the comments below. This isn't the only weird crab you might come across, though. To find out more, watch our episode about the top 10 craziest crabs in the world. They're huge and are as dangerous on trees as they are on the ground. That's what makes coconut crabs crazy creatures.
Did you know that dinosaurs still walk the earth? They may not look as intimidating as they used to, but they're every bit as deadly. Their razor-sharp claws, impressive 1.8-meter frame, and terrible temper have earned them the title of the deadliest bird on Earth. Today, we'll tell you why accidentally wandering into their territory could be the last thing you'd ever do. So cover your throat and vital organs because you're about to go toe to claw with one of the last remaining dinosaur descendants. Cassowaries have incredibly strong legs that allow them to jump almost 2 meters into the air, taking you down in under a second. They can also run at incredible speeds, up to 50 kilometers per hour. And they swim like pros, so you'd be no match for them in a race. If you find yourself being chased by one, your best chance to survive is to climb a tree. Fortunately, they're not very good at that. Look at these claws. They grow up to 12 centimeters, and combined with their mighty legs, these dagger-like claws are the deadliest weapon in the bird world. And you know, they're there for a reason. To defend themselves from threats like, well, you. Cassowaries are extremely territorial. If you get lost and enter their area, they'll immediately start chasing you away. And they're used to fending off dingoes and crocodiles, so your soft flesh will be a breeze for them to take down. If you're out hiking in Australia, New Guinea, or Indonesia, follow designated trails and look for signs of cassowaries like scratched trees and their huge seedy droppings. If you come across footprints like these, you'll be safer turning around and heading back to your camp. Now, in addition to their powerful legs and huge sharp claws, these giant beasts have a bony helmet called a casque that protects their brains. And yeah, it can also be used as a weapon. When slashing with their claws isn't enough, well, cassowaries ram into their opponents using their head, knocking them to the ground and ending the fight. Hey. Cassowaries have ferocious fighting techniques. A study published in the scientific journal Behavior found that cassowaries fight by leaping and swiping at their opponents with their claws while in the air. They target vital areas like the throat and, you know, the soft area in your lower body. Yeah, you don't want to start that fight, do you? Okay, so try to de-escalate. Don't look it in the eye. Start backing away very slowly. If it attacks you, jump to the side. They can't kick sideways, but be careful. If you fall, it's all over. It'll slice you to pieces. Okay, that was pure carnage, and yet somehow you pulled it off. But
Insects have to deal with the harsh reality that at any given time, they could be consumed by a predator like toads and frogs in the blink of an eye. They can be easy prey. Forgive me for stating the obvious, but once eaten, this is where their story usually ends. Except if you're a bombardier or water beetle. These two bugs have a remarkable yet not so glorious way to survive: being vomited or crawling out of their predator's butt.
You're nasty.
How do they survive in a frog's digestive tract? How long do water beetles take to escape from a frog's butt? How do bombardier beetles make their predator vomit them up? Let's find out why the survival of the fittest isn't exactly pretty. There are an estimated 2,000 species of water beetles around the world. They are omnivorous that eat algae, small fish, and decaying matter. Females lay their eggs in water vegetation. The larvae are called water tigers because they have middle-aged dads who call their kids tiger. Oh wait, no, that's not right. Because they are fierce hunters who can eat small water animals bigger than they are. Oh yeah, that makes more sense. Tadpoles tend to be one of the main dishes for water tigers, and considering frogs are a water beetle's most common predator, it seems like a fair trade. The old circle of life. Frogs rarely kill their prey before swallowing them whole, meaning their digestive tract is much more active in killing them. For the water beetle, 90% make it out alive, the only way they know how: through the end zone. Their hard exoskeleton may allow for added protection against harsh digestive juices. These beetles use their legs to swim actively and help them escape. Their hind legs have a fringe of sorts that helps give them an added boost when swimming. Researchers found live beetles were excreted quicker than dead beetles. They determined that the beetles must use their legs and streamlined shape to move through the digestive tract. Water beetles are always excreted head first, which suggests they stimulate the hind gut and urge the frog to poop. The minimum time it takes the beetles to get out is 6 minutes. Most make it out within a 6-hour time frame. Bombardier beetles can also survive after being swallowed. However, they like to come out of a different end of the predator: its mouth. This isn't as simple as just crawling out like a water beetle. This beetle can shoot boiling chemicals that trigger the predator to vomit it up. A chamber in its abdomen creates the toxic brew only when needed. The chemicals react and form hydrogen peroxide, benzoquinones, and a lot of pressure. It shoots the chemicals with massive force, causing damage to the skin and lungs. Most bombardier beetles can get predators like frogs to spit them out before ever being swallowed. Toads have been studied swallowing these bugs and then throwing them up 45 minutes later perfectly fine. Researchers have found that 43% of the beetles that sprayed chemicals were vomited between 12 to 107 minutes later.
I think I'm going to be sick.
It's clear that the bombardier beetle's chemical squirting ability helps them survive. But scientists are still puzzled why they have it in the first place. Bombardier beetles are hardier compared to other species exposed to a predator's strong stomach acids. Biologists think they evolved their chemical defense strictly for the ability to endure a toad's digestive system. Others have pointed out that for bombardier beetles, a flight escape isn't instantaneous, so it buys them time to get revved up. Haven't got your fix for beetles and butts yet? How about a combo? Check out our episode on the dung beetle and its relationship with big balls of poop. Crawling out of the butts of frogs and toads after shooting toxic chemicals to survive is what water and bombardier beetles do. And that's what makes them crazy creatures.